Hola, buenos días.
Buenas tardes, buenas noches.
This is Barb.
And this is Estela.
And welcome to
Cafecito
and Crime. Hola, everyone. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. ¿Cómo les ha ido con la pinche agua aquí? Oye, una llovedera que ha habido. I hope everybody's doing great and nobody was affected by the tropical storm Alberto. What's his name? How are you been doing?
I've been doing. How you been doing?
I think I've been okay. This week was a little bit, I don't know, this past weekend was busy. It was Father's Day.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot, like I saw my dad, then my husband came home, and then it was just a lot going on. But I went to a baby shower.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you about my baby shower.
Experience?
Tragedias. So I went to Target antes de que íbamos a ir al baby shower because I wanted to wear a dress, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, nobody needs to know this, but I've gained a lot of weight. So I was like, dude, I need to buy something that actually fits me. So yo estoy bien emocionada. Me fui al Target y todo. I was even like doing my research y que todo eso. Okay. So I'm like, okay, I found this, all these outfits. Todos no me quedaron. Ninguno me gustó. Finally, I found the last dress that I saw and I'm like, you know what? By this time, my sister-in-law, which is not this one, the other one, she was like, I'm on my way to your house because she's my ride or die at the parties. We go to parties together. It is what it is. And her mom. And then I was like, okay, cool. Next thing you know, I get dressed or whatever, put my hair, chilling, thrilling. Everything is going great. We get to the party. Everybody's chilling, seeing people I haven't seen in a long time. Hi, how are you doing? It was great, Nos sirven mole, hermana. Mm-hmm. Mole y arroz. Y nos sirve, it was my comadre's son. Y nos sirvieron arroz y tamales. Mm-hmm. No, tamal. So then we're chilling or whatever. Your mom is sitting next to me to my left and your sister's sitting me on my right.
Yeah.
Mind you, the plate is right in front of me.
Yeah.
Like there was nowhere anything between me and this
the plate.
As soon as I get the first bite, se me cae el mole en el pinche vestido. Mind you, this dress is like light lime green. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like it was going to be missed.
Yo.
Right?
Yeah.
So then I'm like, oh, se me cayó el mole. And your mom was like, okay. She's like, pues aquí está la servilleta. So then I cleaned it, right? And then next thing you know, I'm eating rice. Y se me cayó el rice y tenía mole. So then the chile started coming out. And I'm like, okay, well, whatever. So then my compadre is like, hey, do you want carnitas? And I'm like, oh, I never say no to a bad
Maybe
carnita.
You should start carrying a bib.
Girl, let me finish. So then I'm like, yeah, let's get carnitas. So then they put the carnitas on there. The plate is on in front of me. And then the salsa is next to the carnitas, right? So I go and grab the carnitas. Why did I get mole again on my damn dress? So at this point, I have mole all over my dress. Your mom was like, ponte el mantel. Like, ponte el mantel like right here. So the mantel is white. And so I'm like, okay, cool. So then now, we started just kind of talking and me and your sister were like chilling or whatever. And then she was all like, your mom was like, oh, they have margaritas. Do you want one? And I said, yeah, okay. They had chile and chamoy on the rim.
Yeah.
No, estaban con madre, right? Guess who dropped chamoy on her fucking dress?
Ay, Dios mío.
So then, now I have chamoy and mole and arroz on my fucking dress, right? So then I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to give up after this. I'm just going to give up. I grab a cup like this y se le cae el agua. Se me tiró toda el agua en el dress. I'm like, you know what? At this point, I don't give a fuck, right? So we're eating everything, whatever. My sister-in-law, ya cuando nos vamos a venir, she's like, hey, you know what? They have nachos. She's like, go get some nachos for me and you. And I'm like, you know what? I don't really not want nachos, but I'll go grab some for you, right? I made her the nachos and everything. Le puse like chiles and everything. Girl sits down with the nachos. She's like, ándale, grab one. Grab the fucking first nacho, one. And I got cheese on my fucking dress.
Why didn't you keep on wearing the mantel like mom had said?
You know what? I don't know what was I thinking. And after a while, I kind of didn't give a shit anymore.
Yeah.
Because I was like, so I would get up and there was like literal manchas all over my dress of food.
It happens, Especially with mole and stuff, You just have to be...
I saw everybody else wearing dresses and stuff, and
Pero sin manchas.
They didn't have manchas
because maybe they were eating like this.
Yeah, or they were probably using this like Yeah, I don't know what the hell I was doing. Your mom was like, "Y otra vez?" I'm like, "Yes." Like, I don't know. At what point I was
they
just like,
se estaban cayendo out of your hands or out of your mouth?
I don't know. I just went like this.
I was about to say, were you having Butterfingers at the baby shower or como?
I have no idea what it was. Pero like, I mean, the chamoy was on the margarita rim. I mean, the rim of the margarita. Y the chamoy got on my dress. How? I don't know. I have no idea. Like, at this point, I just didn't care anymore. And and then we had cake. And they served me the cake, and I was going to bring the cake home with me for your brother because I was like, ya estoy bien llena porque habíamos comido. Girl, why I get cake on my dress too? So, pero lo bueno es que that was white, so eso nada más le hice así, pero pues el chile now, I mean.
Yeah. Did it come out of the dress?
I have no idea. It's just sitting right over there.
It looks like it did.
I don't know, pero it was chile, like mole, like...
Did you put it out in the sun?
I don't know. I mean, ¿de dónde, Estela? Si está lloviendo, tiene todo el pinche
puto no way. You went to the party Saturday? You put it out in the sun Sunday? Entonces?
No. Pero, I don't know if anybody is out there that also is, like, literally can't go nowhere without getting dirty.
Yeah.
When I went to Colorado with my best friend, we went to eat, and she was like, "Oh, I don't want to get dirty." And the first thing she did was get fucking dirty. Like, why is our life?
Who cares?
I mean, no one cares, but luego you have a stain of like food your whole fucking day. Like, it ruined my fit. I mean, I was wearing a mole dress
at that point, but you should have worn black like you usually do.
And I actually had a black dress in my cart, but I was like, no.
Two options. You either wear black o ponte un biberón.
No, así no se dice. Biberón? What the fuck is that?
Biberón? It's biberón, right?
Biberón is a teta.
So what's a mandil? No, it's not a mandil. Mandil is when you cook. So what's a bib?
Pues sí, un bib, un mandil. Porque para no mancharme.
No, but just like the ones de los babies. Like just around your neck. What is that called? Just like the napkin all the way up to your neck?
Yeah, just wear a napkin. I don't know. But if anybody else is out there.
Let me see. Hold on. Let me see. Now I want to know what
that
a bib is in Spanish. Biberón. Biberón.
Wow, you just made that fucking word up.
Babero.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
But ponte un babero.
But anyway, and then I spoke to one of the girls when I was leaving, and she said she listened to us. So, hey, Sochi. Yeah, so I was like, oh my God, thank you so much for your support. Anyway, so today I will pass that, chile de vestido.
Vestido de chile?
Vestido de chile. De mole. Mole. By the way, the mole was fucking banging. But anyway, so I will be discussing today's case, and we are actually going to... This was a very famous case, and it wasn't too long ago. So I don't know if anybody's heard it. The case is the case of Lacey Fletcher. And we're going to Slaughter, Louisiana. Mm-hmm. Like slaughter...
The animal?
The animal slaughter, okay. Yes. So if you would like to join us to Slaughter, Louisiana, you grab your cafecito.
And let's get started.
So, like I said, we're going to Slaughter, Louisiana. Now, I do want to have a disclaimer on this one because, to be honest, it took me a while to be able to read everything, and because it is a case of very, very bad abuse. Mm-hmm. So I want everyone to know we will be discussing abuse, and we will be discussing bodily fluids, and it's not a good situation. So if you can't do well with that, I know my sister, she wants to gag for everything. So if you don't do good, then just go ahead and we'll see you in the next one. Mm-hmm. But, I feel like it's very important for the story for you to explain everything that happened to Lacey here. Mm-hmm. So once again, we're going to Slaughter. Slaughter is a really small town. I mean, like super small. So there is a population, last time was checked, between 800 and 1,000 at the most in 2020. Mm-hmm. So you would think that the name Slaughter came from something like a slaughterhouse or something like that. But no. Actually, it came from the original owner of the land from 1889, Mr. Will Slaughter, and his brother Joe. The town is about 20 miles from Baton Rouge, and it's the biggest city that is close to, it's like 20 miles from Baton Rouge. So Baton Rouge is the biggest city. And
close to Slaughter.
Yeah. And So I found this story, okay? So this is kind of funny because I was like, oh man, I can't find anything about slaughter. What do I do?
Yeah.
And I know that they actually had a problem with the name slaughter, and they actually, and they went to try to change it. Pero I think they fought it y no se lo cambiaron. But anyway, so in 2016, a young man was trimming trees along the road when he went to al baño. So he went to pee in the trees in slaughter. And he stumbled upon a safe that had a big hole blown out in it.
A safe.
A safe.
Okay.
Como una
caja fuerte.
Caja fuerte, yeah. Y tenía un big old hole. And when he went to poke around there, he's like, oh shit, no vaya a haber una snake because, we're in the South, whatever. And he grabbed a stick and to make sure that que no había nada. Well, there was no snake, but he did find dozens of letters.
Oh.
Written letters that dated back to the 1940s.
Oh, wow. Okay. And you said this was in 2016?
This was in 2016.
Okay.
Yeah. So the letters were from, finally, when he took out the letters and he started reading them or whatever, there were all letters from a Navy supply ship.
Okay.
That was from World War II.
Okay.
So these letters were from World War II, and they were addressed to a specific person, but there was no address. All it said was Slaughter, Louisiana. So he did try to return them, he says, pero que, pues, there was no address.
That's what I was about to say. Like, where do you try? Oh, he thought about returning them, pero no tenía dirección.
No había dirección, that kind of stuff. So finally, cuando he took the letters to I guess someone to be like, hey, I don't know, I think I should turn this in. So they actually belonged to someone by the name of Merrick, Merrick Dunn, and he was born in 1905. He was a 40-year-old Navy SEAL that he wrote the letters while he was aboard of the USS Pollux, Pollux. After he left the Navy, he went back to Slaughter to live there and around there with his sisters and whatever. His family. And he actually eventually became the president of Clinton Bank and Trust, which is and he was actually the treasurer of the bank. And he was the youngest member of the administrative board of Slaughter Methodist Church. He died on August the 1st of 1971. And this was all according to WAFB News.
So who were the letters? He was writing the letters?
To his family and his sisters.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay.
He was kind of just telling them, hey, this is going on, or whatever.
Yeah, so did those letters get returned to his family?
Yes, they did.
Cool.
They returned them to his family because, I think that it had to do with the fact that, Slaughter is so small. I'm pretty sure they were
I wonder how they ended up there, though.
I have no idea. Especially with, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Especially with the safe con el hole, oh shit.
Yeah, and for there be a hole in a safe, did somebody shoot at it? Or they probably thought que tenía treasure or dinero o algo más valuable?
Y luego cuando la abrieron,
they're like, oh, it's just some papers.
Yeah, porque the description said that they were all in blue ink, pero well preserved because it's hot over there in Louisiana.
But if they're in a safe, I guess.
Pues sí, pero si estaba el hole.
Let's take a quick break.
Persons of Interest is back, and it's bigger than ever.
That scream will echo in my head for many years.
Taser! 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 He's gonna shoot!
Oi! Shot fired! Shots fired, shots fired.
Stay out! You got a gun on you!
He had the perfect aim.
I am absolutely stressed at that point. I have no idea where my officers are.
Persons of Interest available everywhere you get your podcasts.
No. I guess it depends. Yeah.
So they could have gotten, into the elements or something, So we're going to start our case on we're going to start a case on January 4th of 2022. The Slaughter Police Department received a phone call from Miss Sheila Fletcher and her husband, Clay Fletcher, stating that they had found their daughter, Lacey Ellen Fletcher, dead on their couch.
Okay.
Now we're gonna go back to a little bit
Before?
we're gonna go back to a little bit before, and then we'll go into the details about the case. So there's not much to know about Clay and Sheila Fletcher besides that Clay worked at the Baton Rouge Civil War Roundtable. He was like one of the members there, and apparently this is a group of people that make sure that you don't remember facts about the Civil War.
That you don't remember?
That you don't forget facts about the Civil War. And then Sheila was a police and county clerk for the nearby town of Baker, Louisiana.
Okay.
So she also was an assistant to the city prosecutor. And later in life, she was elected by the people of Slaughter as a town alderman to represent their town.
Oh, cool.
So based on what I read about what is a town alderman, basically it's because they're all Baptist. I mean, not Baptist. It was like based on their church. So then they would go, they were like the elders. So they would go and tell people like, you're doing well and, good job. And if you have a problem, you can come to me and all this stuff. That's what I read or what it was.
Like a counselor kind of?
Kind of like a counselor, yeah.
Okay.
And she was elected to represent their town. So basically they would go around to different towns, I guess.
Yeah.
Like literally, it's the smallest town. I think that they have a population, like I said, of 900 or up to 1,000.
Yeah.
So at one time, she was also the vice mayor of the town.
Oh, damn.
Yes,
she did a lot.
They were very active in their community and church, and they could look up to them, and they would come with them, like I said, when they needed advice, because that's what aldermans did. So this brings us to November 25th of 1985, when Sheila and Clay became parents to Lacey. So from the outside, they were so happy to have Lacey, and they were proud to have her as their child. She was blonde and she had the biggest smile, and they apparently gave her what she wanted, along with making sure that she was happy. Growing up, the family moved to another home, and the pictures of the home, it was just like in the middle of like this large land, and it's just but green, like real pretty, bien así, bien arregladito y todo. And it seemed like the American dream home, like it looked perfect from the outside. So Lacey eventually attended Barnesville Baptist Academy, which is a really small private school there in the city. She was known to be super sweet and kind, and she had a lot of friends. She was in the volleyball team and in the bowling team, and she loved Disney movies.
The bowling team?
The bowling team, yeah.
Cool.
And she loved Disney movies and country music, and she was obsessed with Mariah Carey. Same girl.
Real quick, is she an only child?
She's an only child at this time, yes.
Okay.
Well, yeah. She's an only child. She would talk nonstop about Disney, and she would send her friends photos of characters and like pictures of herself when she would go to Disney and that kind of thing.
And you said she was born in 1985?
She was born in 1985, and she shows up in the yearbook where she's around 14 or 15, and she looks so beautiful, Stella. She had like shiny blonde hair, and she had a big smile, and she was beautiful. Around the time is when people started to notice there was a little bit of a change. You see, Lacey was known as a young age to have been diagnosed with autism.
Okay.
But it did not affect her day-to-day life. She still was very involved in all of that good stuff. But when she started getting older, the kids started bullying her. And unfortunately, that happens very often. And when she hit high school and into her teenage years is when it got really bad. Yeah. Some of the people from her class would say that they just would see her as someone that never grew up. So she was still obsessed with Disney, and the other teens were more interested in teenager stuff.
Or like boys
and that kind of thing. And she wasn't. She would still
do
There's
nothing wrong with that either. I mean, not just...
I don't think so per se, but hey,
kids are dicks.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Some of the people at the same time, Lacey started to go into some severe social anxiety. I mean, like severe. She was struggling to speak to anybody, and she wouldn't go anywhere. And around this is a big moment in her life where her cognitive health began to decline. Mm-hmm. So her parents did what any parent would do and take her to the doctor. They took her to a psychiatrist, and when she was seen, she was told her parents were told that she had a very low IQ, very low, and she was told that her autism was the reason why she was having a hard time. Okay, hey, she's having a hard time because of her autism. Mm-hmm. So she was seen for 12 sessions, and after that, nothing was done. She went back to her life and just trying to survive, with her parents.
How old was she? In her early teens, you said?
Yeah, so she was like 13, 14.
Okay.
And then after a while, her parents said, you know what, we're just going to homeschool her. Like, she was afraid to leave the house. She was afraid to do anything.
Pobrecita.
So they started to homeschool her. And this is when we did take a very big turn into her life for the worst. There were sightings of her playing in the neighborhood with other children, but even at that, those became kind of rare after time would pass. She actually wouldn't leave her house at all.
Yeah, like ya no la miraban.
Ya no la miraban. When she was 16 years old, she was taken once more to the doctor. And they were, again, she has social anxiety, that Lacey had, whatever, and these things. And then her parents were like, can you help us with something? And they were like, you need to make sure that you talk to someone else, or, we get her some help, blah, blah, blah. So they gave them a solution, and her parents were like, okay. And then took her home, decided not to go by any of what the doctors would recommend, and say, no, she's just coming home with us.
Y se va a quedar todo igual. Like nothing.
Exactly. And that's actually one of the last times that she saw a medical professional in her whole life.
When she was 16.
So some of the neighbors do say that they remember like her walking around the block, pero que she was always holding dumbbells y que como que estaba haciendo ejercicio. Like she was just like doing like, I guess like getting her walk in. I don't know.
Steps in.
But even at that, it was once in forever. And when the neighbors would see Lacey, they said that she looked completely normal to them, and that she would, they wouldn't think she was in distress. She looked normal. She was out there just being a
walking with
young
weights.
woman, walking with weights and getting
and
her
like you
steps
said,
in.
no se miraba like she was scared or in trouble or anything like that.
So this happened for the next 5 years, to where people didn't have any sightings of her. So at this point, 5 years passed, and at the same thing, they would see her or whatever.
Say
or
that
they would
again.
So this happened for the next 5 years. So once again, they would see her sometimes, like I said before, in and out or de lejos, pero nunca.
Like up close, nobody ever like actually had any type of communication con ella, ni nada de
They
eso.
would see her que salía y entrabas, pero nunca la miraban like long enough for her to be outside.
También, not that, I don't know if this has anything to do with the case, pero la miraban igual, like walking around the block with weights. So nada más, she would just like walk grab like the mail or something. I don't know.
So a lot of the times, yeah, she was like walking out or, with the dumbbells otra vez.
Yeah.
And then at this time, it's been 5 years, she's 24. So around 24, right? Or in the beginning of her 20s. And this is where they recall that after this her neighbor said, we didn't see her after this at all. Like, this is the point when they're like, we stopped seeing her. Before la miraban de lejos o poquito. Now, at this point, they're like, ya no la miramos.
Never saw her again.
Never saw her again. So there's like a interview. Está un señor explicando que él la miró y que la miraba de repente, pero que he's like, I would have never thought anything going on with Lacey. Like, la mirábamos de lejos like everybody else. So it's like she disappeared.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like she never left, but she never came back in.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, the houses were very separated. So this is a big land, like I said before.
Yes.
So, of course, people kind of, you could get away with some shit si nadie te ve ahí enfrente de tu casa.
And like you said, especially since you guys are so spread apart, nomás ves cosas de lejos. So you're even thinking to yourself, what am I even seeing, right? Or, you know, like, it's not like you can differentiate.
Yeah, pero you know what kills me about this case? And I feel like...
I don't recall. I want to say that her name sounds familiar, but I have no idea what this case is.
When I start telling you what happened, you probably will. But you know what literally infuriated me, and the reason that I talked about this case was because... What about her other family members? Like, ¿dónde estaba su abuela? Like, sus tías, sus tíos? Like, anybody wanted to know where Lacey was at? Maybe
they didn't have close family?
Well, I don't know, but let me keep going.
Okay.
So, like, at this point, she just disappeared according to them. But
I guess for us, it's different because... we're like around a lot of family members all the time. So si algo nos pasaría a uno de nosotros, people would question. But not everybody's like that,
That's true. Pero tú dirías, okay, pues si la muchacha disappeared, then también Sheila and Clay, ¿verdad? Porque they're
still
her parents, right?
Yeah.
No, ma'am. They didn't disappear. They were posting themselves everywhere. Sheila was a big Facebook poster. So like she was one of those.
Seems like she would be.
Yeah, she was one of those. I mean, she was on vacation. She would go to LSU games. If we don't know what LSU is, it's the
University.
college football. Yeah, it's a Louisiana Southern University football. She would go to fancy dinners. They were out and about like nothing. Pero nobody would ever see Lacey. Like ellos solos. They would even take.
They wouldn't even post her nada.
Nada. They would even go on vacations and post pictures about their vacations. Pero nunca pusieron ni una picture de Lacey.
O que Lacey estaba con ellos.
O que Lacey estaba con ellos, or an update, or nada.
And I'm sure this was back when, I guess, Facebook first got big, like the 2010s kind of.
Yeah, so around there. CC, you're right.
Yeah.
So then at this point, the neighbors were, and once again, we go back to that guy that was like, well, I just thought like, she should be in her 20s by now, right? So she probably moved out. She probably got married.
Yeah.
She's a young adult already.
Y también uno como, like, I know a lot of people aren't close to their neighbors, like, you know, you guys hang or anything like that.
I'm not close to my neighbors.
Pero maybe like her parents le dijeron a los neighbors some story about Lacey, you know?
No, well, that's the thing. The neighbors were like, we never heard of anything about it. And so they were like, well, maybe she went to college or she might come, y no la vemos. You know, you never know.
Or like you said, they probably thought she moved out or something, you know, and they just never saw.
But nothing. No one questioned it. And nobody came and been like, hey, dude, we haven't seen Lacey. Like,
no, I guess.
So now we are at 3 years past now. Okay. So now Miss Lacey is around 24. So Sheila and Clay go back to the doctor's office and they tell them, hey, we are having some problems again with Lacey. Now she's having phobias and she will sit in the couch. She will not move from the couch. This girl, I'm talking about, that was her safe spot. And we know about safe spots. And she would not move from there. And according to her parents, she was refusing to move. And the doctors told them, okay, well, how do you deal with this? And they said, well, we feed her in the sofa. She wouldn't shower. She wouldn't leave to shower. And all they did was just put Disney movies on for her.
Yeah.
I don't know why that broke my heart. I cried last night. No, the night before. And then her hair was just starting to like smell and her parents were kind of getting concerned. And so then the doctor was like, you need to hospitalize her.
Okay.
Like immediately. And Clay and Sheila said, no, I don't think we need to hospitalize her. She's okay. So they didn't hospitalize her. And all that they did was just kind of...
Wait, would they tell the doctors, okay, we'll look into that and then just not do it? Because I don't think that they can tell the doctor, oh, no.
And that's the thing.
Right?
I'm kind of confused with that was because, I mean, I don't know. To be honest, this story was really weird. And not only that, but I mean, it's Sheila. She knew a lot of people in the town. So I don't know if the doctor...
Oh, yeah, you're right. I forgot about that.
And I know that it's sad that this might influence, but as an influence of some of you of knowing people, then it also influences you the other way around in good ways and in bad ways, right? So they said that, you know, Clay was like, dude, she won't leave the house. The house. She won't leave the sofa now.
Yeah.
Okay. So at first it wasn't the house. Now it's the sofa. And
No se está
bañando. And they even set up a portable toilet next to her porque ni se quería levantar al baño.
Wow.
Okay. So they tried to encourage her, but she refused.
But this is according to her parents.
According to her parents.
Okay.
And she said that, Sheila said that she would just urinate and poop on the sofa. And that she would try to clean it y ponía toallas la señora. I don't know what they were thinking. You know, I don't know what the fuck. I don't know. So once again, the doctor just say, hey, you need to take her to emergency room. She needs to be admitted because she needs help. And we need that, or we can get you an order to force her to go.
Right.
You know, whatever. And Sheila and Clay said, no, you know what? I think that we'll see what, you know, we'll look into it or whatever, like you said. Because she said that, Sheila said that her daughter never told her that she was in pain or unhappy.
Okay.
So, and she was at this point, obviously a 24-year-old. She was an adult. So I don't know. Another thing that I also read somewhere, and it's probably not true. I hope not. But I did read that day that they went to go speak to that doctor, que Sheila le dijo al doctor que they weren't supposed to be parents that were caretakers. So I don't know if maybe that was their thought. So, and that's the reason why they were like, we're going to do kind of be as normal as possible. I don't know. But that's something that I read somewhere, and I don't put it past it at this point because I'll tell you why. So Lacey told them that she was fine and that she was happy. So that she didn't need any of their help and she was okay.
She just wanted to lay in the sofa.
She just wanted to lay in the sofa. So then this is once again, why did no one call APS, the authorities, somebody? I mean, like I said, I don't know. But anyway, so at this point, Lacey is refusing to leave the sofa, right? And she's now not moving at all. So a whole 10 years go by.
10 years?
Yes. And Sheila, she's posting, girl. She's posting
living her life.
Living her life. Now, there is a picture out there of Sheila and Clay. Now, if anybody wants to look it up, you can, but you need to be very careful because there is pictures
that might pop up.
And you need to be very careful, but we will post those pictures on Instagram. Not the bad ones, but the other ones. Pero if you see it, they're standing in front of a Christmas tree and Lacey was at the sofa at that time. So they're like standing, taking pictures, posing in front of the Christmas tree.
Y su hija
allá en el sofa. Let me tell you what exactly happened to her. So there was the neighbors also said que sí, a veces sí le preguntaban a Clay que dónde estaba Lacey. Y que luego cambiaba la conversation. O empezaba a hablar de algo más. Or would be like, oh, yeah. Or dice el neighbor, he said he got shocked because he said at one point, I don't know if it was the same neighbor, but own neighbor. At one point, they were like, hey, where's Lacey? Or how's Lacey doing?
Right.
And, she moved away or whatever. Yeah. He said, no, she lives there with us. Entonces, he admitted de que vivía allí, pero he changed the conversation.
Yeah.
So ya no quiso hablar sobre eso, So we're going to go back to the events of what happened on January 2nd, 2022. Once again, I am going to go into details that I feel like they're very important for you to understand the horror that Lacey went through. And I feel like if I wouldn't mention these things, then I wouldn't be doing justice to Lacey and telling her story. So please, if you are sensitive from your stomach and if you just don't, I know Estella's sensitive, but I don't really give a shit.
Me?
Yeah, I'm just kidding. So like if you're sensitive or if...
That's Tina.
Yeah. So if you're sensitive or if this is a topic that might... Because it did affect me for a while, I'm not gonna lie. So we're going back to January the 2nd at 2 a.m. when Sheila and Clay called 911 to ask for help because they had found their daughter dead. So if you go out there to the internet, obviously the internet is a really, really scary world. You can hear the 911 call.
Okay.
But I'm going to explain what happened. She goes on to tell the 911 dispatcher that her daughter stopped breathing. And then she says, this is what she said. She said, my daughter stopped breathing. And then she's like, it's a long story.
How?
Exactly.
How is it a long story?
She's an adult. And she also stopped eating suddenly, end quote.
She says all of this in the 911 call.
In the 911 call. And then they go to ask her age. And this has killed me, Estela. Because they say, what is your daughter's age? She's like, she's an adult. And she's like, okay, how old is she? And then Sheila said, oh, she's in her 30s. Oh, wait. And so then the dispatcher says, how old is she? Like con fuerza.
Yeah.
Y ella le dice, oh, I think she's 31. Yeah, 31. She's 31. Keep in mind, Lacey was not 31. Lacey was 36.
Wow.
Okay. So the dispatcher went on to tell Sheila, okay, put Lacey on the floor and start chest compressions. And you can hear in the background, donde Sheila goes to Clay, she says, put her on the floor.
Yeah.
She says, put her on the floor. And Clay said, I can't. So we want to remember this because this is going to play a big part. So he says, I can't. Not long after, llega la police department. Clay tells the dispatcher that he is giving the chest compressions while she's still sitting in the couch.
That's what
he tells her. Okay, I'm starting the chest compression. She's still sitting in the couch. So the deputies showed up, right? And they find Clay doing the chest compressions. Once they heard that the door opened, this is where they found to what was called, where some of these investigators said that they could not eat or sleep for the next few days of how horrible the scene was. So,
and then especially, like you said, it's such a small town that they don't see stuff like this.
Exactly.
You know?
So at this point, the deputy said, you know what? As soon as they walked in, the smell that was there, they said they knew that they needed a coroner. So they didn't even go in.
Yeah, they
were
didn't
like,
make it
no, at this point, they were like, no. So they called the coroner. His name was Dr. Bickham. And he arrived at the home. And when he walked in is where he discovered what we're about to talk about. And once again, it gets disturbing. So the coroner arrived and he was led into the home where there was a smell that was so horrible that he stated that the smell that he had never smelled before. And we're talking about a coroner.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not only that, but he said it smelled like a septic tank, surge of like poop, blood, rotten flesh, urine, and feces all at the same time.
Wow.
Okay. And he was just at the entrance.
Right.
He had not even gone into the house yet.
Yeah. Like fully into the home.
Yeah. So he said he kept walking where Clay was in the kitchen and he looked horrified. And Sheila was on the floor and her head was between her knees and she looked traumatized, is what he said. At this point, they pointed Dr. Bickham to the living room. And in the middle of the living room, or closer to the middle, there is a brown sofa, and is where he sees the head of Lacey with her hair kind of out, and she was slumped over. She was partially clothed. And apparently, for some reason, she was wearing a blue t-shirt, pero it wasn't even on. She had her breast exposed, right? So
was
for
it just
some
like
reason,
up or something?
It was up.
Yeah.
A lot of the sources that I've read, it said that since her clothes wouldn't fit, her mom just stopped, just kind of le ponía la ropa encima.
What?
I don't know. So then while he was making his way into the living room to get to Lacey, and I mean, he said that the worst part to him was looking around, that everything was so clean. But that
area,
sofa, that spot. Like everything was put where it's supposed to go. Everything was like maintained. Todo estaba bien. Tenía and
barrido.
Barrido y todo. And there's pictures of the scene. And there's like una mesita con like decorations and fotos and shit.
I pulled up. I mean, I'm seeing the sofa right now, but it's literally just the sofa, not around. But
No. And so, but there's actually pictures of that. And so, not only that, this sofa, so that whoever's listening can kind of get a context. It was a 3-person sofa. It was a leather sofa. Excuse me. And at one end on the left-hand side, there's a hole, and in the hole is where Lacey was sitting. So at this point is where the coroner gets closer and he sees that they couldn't move Lacey out the sofa because she was melted into the sofa, Stella. So her
body
skin was a part of the sofa. Okay? So we're talking about the leather had burned away to absorb to her body. Yeah. So there was so much feces and urine everywhere and exposed foam.
Because I'm sure all of that just like ate through the leather. Like, I mean, and she had been there, like you said, for so long.
Yeah.
Like,
so she was sitting cross-legged, or what they would call something
crisscross applesauce.
Yeah, crisscross or something like that. I don't know. And I think that the most traumatic thing for me was the fact that how she was laid, because unfortunately, when I did see her, you can see the picture. Yeah,
I can see it right here.
Like, I don't know why, but
if you pull them up, just be aware. Most of them, like some of the pictures, the websites try to blur them.
But some of them don't.
But some of them don't. Yeah. So just be aware.
And so there's a hole, and it looks like she almost had made herself into the hole.
The sofa.
The sofa. And like I said, there was nothing, and she was not wearing anything, her waist down. And her shirt was the only thing, like I said, and her breasts were exposed. I don't know why. I don't know if maybe her dad lifted up to do the chest. I don't know what happened, but yeah. So her bones were protruding her skin. They did determine eventually that she only weighed 96 pounds at 36 years old. She was really small. Like, she didn't grow much. And it seemed like she literally had shrunk into the sofa. She was covered in feces and she was slumped over. Like I said before, the coroner said he can't get that vision out of his mind because her eyes and mouth were open, and that she was almost buried up to her shoulders. That's how
into
deep
the sofa.
into the sofa. Yeah, it looked like her teeth were actually pretty healthy. Weirdly, so they don't know if maybe Sheila would brush her
out of everything.
But I don't know if that was something that she would do for somebody that had a pool of fecal matter in the sofa. I mean, for her teeth to be clean. Here we go. So there was fecal matter everywhere. It was smeared all over her body. There was fecal matter in her nose. There was fecal matter in her mouth. There was in her ears.
What?
She had her hair had been matted so bad to a 20-inch ball, and it was full of feces and maggots.
Oh my God.
Yes. So she had red blotches on her face along with it was just like como kind of like a pimple, but not really. And so he said he kind of got close. And then he said that her fingernails were long and she had feces on her fingernails, and her toenails were so long that they had curved over. That's not all.
Yeah, no, I'm sure.
She had so many bug bites. There was actually live maggots there when they got there. And maggots were all over her, and unfortunately they were inside her as well.
God.
It seemed like the maggots had gotten into her ear and they started eating her flesh from the inside while she was still alive. And they were able to see rodent droppings next to her. So they don't know if the rodents were in the sofa or were they on top of her. And this is I'm sorry, once again, there was also a swarm of maggots that were in her genitals.
Wow.
Yeah. Then that's not all. When they pick up Lacey from the sofa, mind you, they had to literally pry her off of the sofa because she had fused, Estela.
Yeah.
I don't think that, like, when I would hear, oh, she's stuck. No. She was literally...
She was part of the sofa.
Part of the sofa.
Yeah.
Like, the leather had come off with her in her skin, and that's why her dad wasn't able to do the chest compressions. Now, we're going to talk about her state. So she was full of skin lesions. Okay. So a lot of the skin lesions were kind of like a bed sore. I don't know if anybody knows what a bed sore is. So when you lay down too much on the same side, te empieza a salir como una llaga, como a sore.
Yeah.
And so then those sores, they're compression. So because she was heavy, it was like putting pressure on there. But they're very painful. This is not something that you just get or whatever. People that usually get them, like the older people that are like in like places where they have them, they have to rotate them because they will get very painful and they'll get infected. So she had a bed sore so bad that the bottom, her glute was gone. She had no glutes because they were just bones. There was nothing there. She was pure bones.
Well, she only weighed 96 pounds. So it's just like her skin had been eaten away.
Yeah.
De por sí no tenía like anything to.
Yeah. So she literally had been eaten away. Not only that, but they found that the bottom of the sofa, like under where they had seen some of the maggots and some of that, there was a pool of feces. So you would think, okay, well, she's defecating, right? But whenever there's an extreme constipation, you do also get diarrhea. Not only whenever you have diarrhea. So a lot of times when you're really constipated, you can get diarrhea, but it's not. It's weird, but your body's weird. So the coroner, he took about an hour to go over everything and to see how they were going to get her unstuck from the sofa. So based on what I kind of understood was that her feces was all over her skin.
Right.
So then the skin would dry and it would dry to the sofa, to the leather. So then the leather started basically she was stuck.
Yeah.
So when they pulled her out, she was pronounced dead at 3:07 a.m. But he did determine that this was not an accident. So he did call it a homicide.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think anybody can get that way.
Yeah.
without being neglected.
So even with all of this, when they took Lacey to the coroner's office, they did perform an autopsy and they found out that she suffered or that she had passed away from starvation. She had a bone marrow infection. She was septic. And they also found out that she had COVID at the time of her death.
Oh, because you did say it was 2022, right?
Yes. Upon investigating the area where this killed me too, there were signs where poor Lacey tried to lift herself.
Oh,
she tried, and to avoid pain because she
or
was
trying to turn over or something.
But because due to the malnourishment and the atrophy in her leg muscles, she was unable to. Basically, she was frozen into that position, and that's why she sat in the position for so long, because she could not physically move.
She had no strength.
She had no strength. So at one point, they thought that Lacey was something called. It was like a condition where you go into a shock and you don't move. But based on like the stuff that they found afterwards, she was moving at one point. She wasn't like completely frozen, or because some people say like they go into a coma, but they can still hear or whatever. But she wasn't. That wasn't the case state at all. Yeah. So, and the reason is because they did check her stomach contents. This killed me too. And all she had was feces and pieces of foam. So she was trying to eat. She was trying to eat foam. Yep. So, I mean, that means that she was at one point hungry or eating her surroundings. So she was able to move. Unless her mom was feeding her the foam, but I doubt that her mom would even get close. But anyway. And all of this, while because of social media, they found out Clay and Sheila had vacation for the holidays for a week and a half, 2 weeks. And
before?
Yeah. Because remember, this was January the 2nd. So they had just came back from vacation.
And she was still posting it all up on Facebook.
Yeah. So they don't know. I mean, obviously, they didn't take her. Or obviously, they didn't,
And
care.
obviously, pero like you were saying, todo ponía en el Facebook anyway.
Todo.
So if they're gathering that it wasn't an accident and she was neglected by her parents while they were out living their lives.
Exactly.
It's all documented on social media.
Yes. Not only that, but the autopsy also revealed that Lacey, I don't know how they figured this, but they found out that Lacey had sat on that sofa for at least 12 years. It was determined that Lacey had been dead 1 to 2 days before her parents decided to call authorities. So
were they back by then?
Yeah, they were back, pero they didn't
care. If she had been that way for a long time.
Yeah. So her parents were arrested, and guess what? They posted bail.
What?
And another guess what? They posted bail the next day, and they paid $72,000 cash to get out of jail. And they went home to live their life. So wait a minute. This isn't the worst. Prepare to be pissed. I even wrote, prepare to be pissed. So Sheila, after she left got out of bail, whatever. First of all, how the fuck are you going to get together $72,000? I don't even have $7, bitch.
I wonder what, I mean, you said what they did, but
I don't know.
Anyways.
I mean, $72,000 and you didn't want to.
Each?
No, it was like 30 something each one.
Okay.
Cash money in your hand. No creas que like, credit, like bail bonds and shit. So then after she left, the same day that she left, she posted on Facebook. And let me tell you what she wrote, girl. And I quote, "Mom and Dad love you so much.
Shut the fuck up."
That's what she wrote. Yeah.
Y todavía en el pinche Facebook, la vieja.
La vieja. 2 weeks later after this, they were brought in for questioning. And they stated that everything started in 2010, as we had mentioned.
Discussed.
Mm-hmm. They visited the doctor and they said, once again, the doctor told me that we needed to hospitalize them. Now, here's her. Very interesting fact. Not that there's nothing else about this that's crazy, but the coroner, Dr. Bigman, he was actually the same doctor that saw Lacey when he told her
initially
that they need to be hospitalized, right? Since they did not get her hospitalized as the doctor suggested, Lacey, according to Sheila and Clay, decided that she wanted to stay in the couch, and they let her because they didn't want to go against her will. And that is what she wanted for her to sit in the couch for 12 years.
Okay,
and not eat.
un día, 2 maybe. Okay, yo a veces I don't want to get up from bed, still. I mean, nobody's telling me to move, right? But, okay, like, your daughter, se la pasa tirada anyways, like that's she loves it. But even you're like, hey, ya parate, no,
I told her that yesterday when I took her to the store. I'm like, hey, you need to get up. So, yeah, because they will late for a long time.
Yeah,
but like,
you're like, okay.
12 years? Yeah. And guess what? She had... Okay, you're about to be pissed. She had the fucking nerve to blame everything on Lacey. She said that it was Lacey's fault that she sat there because she thought she was just being lazy.
Bitch, they told you to hospitalize her.
Yeah. And then, do you think that just because you would put the toilet there, she was able to... What makes you think she was able to move?
So you didn't feed her?
She couldn't physically move.
So you didn't feed her? You couldn't clean her? You couldn't... Like, hey, if you call the ambulance, they come to your house.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. So then she said that,
and you have money to pay for it if you have $72,000.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was saying.
I bet you they had good insurance too.
Oh, I'm pretty sure they had like badass insurance.
Yeah.
So, not like a PPO, not an HMO. They said that she refused to move and that they let her
a low deductible.
Yeah, low deductible, not $7,000.
Yeah.
So they said that she refused to move and they let her because she was an adult. And that she made her own decisions because what else could they do? Lacey was not sick, end quote. Yeah, I knew you were going to get pissed off. I already knew. So, but Sheila did claim that she was taking care of her.
Wait, ¿y el esposo no dice nada?
Pues yo creo que no le preguntaron a él, malas a ella. I don't know. So Sheila...
We know who wears the pants in this relationship.
Well, not only that, but when I was reading the story and like getting information, I was talking to my husband about that. I'm like, a ver, le digo, ¿a poco si yo voy a decirte que la niña quiere estar sentada for the rest of her life?
In a couch.
In a couch, and then she's pooping everywhere. And I'm just going to let her. You would just let me? He's like, no. I'm like, exactly. So where, like,
I'd be like, move, bitch, get out the way.
Let me get my baby up. Like, what is, like, not that I would ever, I'm so sorry but you never know. Like, okay, it could have been a mental illness either way, but still,
but
like,
I think that would make, that's what I'm saying. Like, that would make sense. What you said earlier that you didn't know how accurate it was because you only did read it once where it said that, that they just they didn't want to have a sick child.
No, they
like
didn't.
She wanted, her, or make it seem like they were normal or they were a normal family and that there wasn't anything wrong.
And that's why most of the times you do post a lot of stuff on Facebook because you're trying to show
compensate
face. Yeah,
for something else.
Or show face and be like, oh, this is my real life. No, bitch, post 5 minutes ago cuando te estabas peleando con el huerco y estirando las greñas. Don't post ya cuando el huerco está feliz.
I did see the picture of the Christmas tree that you're talking about, and it does look like a really nice corner of the home. The Christmas tree is like lit up, nice walls, nice crown molding.
Yeah, the crown molding.
Yeah, the crown molding looks nice.
You know, when you're over 30, best have crown molding.
Wait, how, like you said, Lacey, I mean, literally merging with the sofa, like probably 3 feet from you. How do you sleep in that house?
No, how do you
get rid of that smell?
And the person that I was reading about was like, the smell. Like, how could you live with that smell? But it was COVID time, so people weren't leaving their houses.
That's true.
Pero how long
también,
pero 12 años, güey?
No, pero in 2022 people were leaving their houses porque esta way they were traveling and shit,
Ya, pues sí. Y ella fue la que yo creo que le pegó el COVID a la niña porque si fue...
They probably gave it to her.
They probably gave it to her because
she wasn't going anywhere.
She had no food in her system.
She had no defenses.
No defenses, no. So hold on, let me finish. I know you're pissed, but I need to finish this case, girl. Okay, so she said that she did claim that she would take care of her.
She would how?
She said que ella le hacía de lonche y que they would eat dinner together in the sofa.
I doubt that you would eat with your daughter and all the feces and all the maggots and all the rodents. Exactly. I doubt it.
She said that she would come home y le hacía de comer and they would eat together. In fact, she said she would dress her every day. Yeah. Y que she said she did notice some of the sores y que ella le cambiaba su ropa y que she would clean the sores with saline water and put lotion on her skin to keep it moisturized.
¿Le echaba Ecofor?
Bro, she said that...
Or a vino.
Lacey never told her that she was in pain when she was cleaning her sores.
Stop.
I am telling you, this girl had no butt.
Yeah.
And you're telling me she never told you she was in pain? There's absolutely no absolute way that this girl was not in pain. There's no way. I mean, imagine.
Wait, no le ponía ropa.
Estela, she was...
No le ponía ropa, güey. Like you said, she was part of the sofa. I doubt that her mom and her dad were trying to like lift her when even they, you know, the coroner, when everybody got to the house, it took them how long to actually get her off or actually
it took them a while. They had to like literally
separate her,
separate her from the couch. Because based on, I don't know if I said this already, and if I did, I'm sorry, you can cut it out, future Stella. If they said que lo que pasaba es que se orinaba and she would se hacía del baño.
So
and
it would dry.
Se secaba. So then it would dry, and then she would get wet again from it, y se volvió a secar. So this is years of all of this that was going on. Not only that, but the fact that the maggots they are almost sure that the maggots were already eating her alive before she even died.
And they can, well, yeah, you know how they can tell the life of a maggot. So it just kind of like gives you, they can pull a timeline from that and stuff.
Oh, wait, it gets worse. She says, oh, yeah. She said, well, in the crime scene photos, ¿te acuerdas que te conté? There was like, en la mesa, había baby lotion, y había powder, baby powder, wipes, and piles of clothes by the sofa, donde, I don't know.
Did they just bring that for when the police were going to get there or what?
And that's my deal, because tenía ya de 1 a 2 días muerto y todo estaba lleno. Muerta, perdón. So ya todo estaba lleno. So did you even like set it up, bitch? Like, I don't know.
Like just for show?
But you know what made me really sad was que también estaba, I know, there was a whole box collection of her DVDs de Disney. And they were in front of the sofa as well. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Then Sheila also had the balls. Like, I don't even know balls. I don't even know what you have. The audacity to say that she would sometimes sleep with Lacey on the sofa.
Shut up. Is there an indentation of you on the sofa? No. So that means you're fucking lying.
Not only that, Estela, pero tapa la like, I don't.
No, I mean, just there are no words. There are no words. Truly. I mean.
So they asked Clay and Sheila, was there anything that you might have noticed differently from Lacey, you know? And both their parents said que no, que lo único que that they noticed was that she was eating a little bit less.
No, more like she wasn't eating at all.
So they went as far, Sheila went as far as saying, and this is going to piss you off, that she fed Lacey half of a sandwich and some Cheetos the night before she died.
Lies.
Bitch, did she forget that they opened up her stomach? There was foam in her fucking stomach and feces.
Yep.
There was no chips. There was no half of a sandwich. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm so mad. I'm so mad. And I knew that reading this was going to even make me more mad. So I'm like, whatever. So after the interrogation and after they were released on bail again, so the judge did dismiss the charge. Once again.
What?
Yes. Once again, we're talking about some pretty influential people here, okay?
Yeah.
And we're not saying that our government is
No, I mean it's a small town.
It's a small town, right? Yeah. And so then the couple was re-indicted on murder by a grand jury in June 2023. Okay?
Last summer.
Then on February 2nd this year, they both went back and they pleaded no contest.
Oh, okay.
In exchange for a lesser conviction of manslaughter. Okay? I wonder why. Pero por qué if you didn't do nothing? Isn't that what Lacey wanted? Okay? The prosecutor stated that they were going to seek the maximum sentence for 40 years, which was manslaughter. And on March 20th of this year, which was 2024, they were sentenced to 20 years with a consecutive 20-year and a suspended sentence after that.
Wow.
So at this time,
how old were they?
I don't know how old they were.
They look old as fuck anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is one of the most incredible cases that I've ever had to sit and read about. I was just, once again,
pinche vieja greñuda.
Like, once again,
she was beautiful.
Wasn't she gorgeous?
Yeah.
And the fact that she had a 20 fucking inch ball of mat in her head
with maggots
inside. The maggots were inside her ears.
First of all, this bitch is lying because the sofa is so worn out que ni cabían probably two people. She's fucking lying. It's just like is it a 3-person?
It's a 3-person sofa. Yeah. Pero I think that like the investigators said that they could not sleep for days.
Yeah, I think a week, right? Or the coroner said
they were like they could not sleep, and I mean, I think that to be honest, like TBH, I think that a lot of people failed her, and I feel like it was not only obviously her parents and trying to avoid that did they want to like be like, oh, she's not here? Like, what the fuck was wrong with them, Estela?
A lot.
I mean, and okay, she was being bullied. Okay. I mean, we can get through this. We'll, we'll do whatever and that's something that, I mean, coming from someone that has a family member with mental illness, and I have mental illness myself, my kids, I know how hard it is to push things like this. But you know what? To make it better, we're going to do whatever it takes. And I feel like some people, like obviously in Slaughter, Louisiana, I don't know. I have no idea. I have no words to describe this. Just the fact that she fucking had the nerve to be like, oh yeah, I fed her. Bitch, no, you didn't. You didn't feed her. Like, why? And it killed me. I cried so hard when I found out that she had foam in her stomach.
Yeah.
Like, she tried. That means she tried. And that is so heartbreaking. Y te imaginas los días que pasó ahí solita. Like,
what was going through her head.
Mind,
yeah.
You know, I mean, I get it. You know, she was...
Like, just imagine the pain she must have been in for years. And I honestly can't believe she lasted that long.
Yeah. Besides the fact that she wasn't, she died of malnutrition. She had a really bad, like when your bone marrow is infected, like
that's
damn, like that's some
like you
deep
said,
shit.
she had no bottom.
She had no bottom. They said that they described it as there was nothing there. She had nothing. It was all fused to the sofa.
That's crazy.
So,
and it sucks that the only thing I can say is like, that's crazy. Because there are no, I mean, what can you even say to this?
There's nothing you can say. I mean, because we just have to hope that there's good people still out there, because that's the only thing that we have. So let us know what you think about this case. I know that it was a lot, and I'm sorry that I kept saying there's a lot, but I just felt like it was very important for everybody to know the extent and what happened to Lacey. And I hope that she's resting in peace right now. And wherever she is, you know, having an amazing time with her DVDs and watching her Disney
movies.
At one point, I forgot to tell you this. They think one of the first times before she stopped coming off of the couch, they said that a few of her friends would get emails from her. So she was still trying to communicate and she was trying to use her computer and stuff. That was before
all of this,
before 2010 when she started
actually
downhill, And I also wanted to say to all the people that bullied her, fuck you. Yeah, that's all I have to say. And
I hope you feel like shit.
And I hope you do, and I hope a maggot will come in your eye. Yeah, because that is ridiculous. Because you never know what your words are going to hurt somebody. You never know. You never know. But thank you so much for listening. I hope that you guys enjoyed this one. I know it's not really enjoyed, but you know.
Or any of them really are. But
let us know what you think. If you would like to follow us on Instagram, we are at
Cafecito and Crime Pod. And you can listen to us anywhere that you listen to podcasts. You can download our episodes. And if you would rate us, we'd really appreciate it.
Yes. And welcome to anybody that's new. We really do appreciate everybody. I hope everyone has a good one. We'll talk to you guys in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.